So in this video, we're going to start looking at how you can begin to change your experience. And we're going to go back to the drawing of the mind. And it's important to know that the power of your mind is 95% in the subconscious and only 5% in the conscious. And the reason it's important to note this is that quite often, especially when I was beginning to look into why I'd got depressed and how to get out of my depression, a lot of the stuff I read was about positive thinking, looking at yourself in the mirror and saying positive things and repeating positive things in your mind. The problem with that is that the conscious thoughts that we have are only about 5% of the power that our mind has. So, and I don't know if any of you watching these videos have tried the idea of trying to think positively and try to change your life just by thinking positively. And, my experience of that was like, I could do it for like half a day, think positively for half a day, but then by the time the day was up, something would happen that would make my day negative, and the stories would come up, and it would be, and it wouldn't work. And the reason that it doesn't work is that because your conscious mind by itself, your thinking mind by itself, does not have enough power to change your experience. Okay? However, one of the first steps that must be taken in order to begin to get out of the depressive cycle is to get control of your mind. And to do that, we have to use meditation. Now, meditation, again, some of you watching this video may have tried meditation, but quite often, again, a lot of the stuff that's out there around meditation is not helpful. You see, meditation is not sitting with your legs crossed going, Meditation is a way of thinking. It's basically controlling your own mind, learning to control your thoughts. Now, meditation can be done at any time during the day because you can control your thoughts at any time during the day. But to begin with, one of the simplest things to do, and I want you to think about your mind as a room with a monkey in it. And when your mind is disordered, it's like this little monkey's running around from place to place, and it's just destroying this room. And you've got no control over this monkey, and it's just bouncing from place to place. You can't control your thoughts. They just come into your mind, and you can't stop them, and they're just going and going and going, and you can't switch your mind off. And it's a mess. It's draining all of your energy. We need to get that monkey under control. We need to get the monkey to sit on a chair, right, and be still. And this is the aim. The first stage of meditation is just to get that monkey under control. And the way that we do that is by getting ourselves out of our mind. To not spend so much time up here thinking, but spend more time here in the body. Because when your conscious mind is concentrating on your senses, on your body, it can't be doing anything else. So something that people say to me quite often is that I can't control my thoughts. I can't control them. There's absolutely no way I can control my thoughts. But I want to do a little experiment with you right now. And I'm going to count to 3. And when I've counted to 3, I want you to say in your mind, not out loud, not with your mouth, but with the voice that you have in your mind. I want you to say, my name is, then say your name, and I live in, and say where you live. So for me, that would be, my name is Philip and I live in the UK. I'm going to count to 3 and you're going to say that speech in your mind. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Excellent. You consciously controlled that thought, right? You can control your thoughts. And for most of us, it's easy to do that for like just a short phrase like you've just done. But if you allow your mind to wander, your mind just begins to think thoughts by itself. And so the first thing we have to do is just train the mind to be comfortable being still, right? The mind, so you've got to think about the mind in this way. The mind is not a physical thing. It doesn't need to sleep. It doesn't need to rest. It doesn't get tired. You know, the reason that we dream at night is not because it's because the mind doesn't sleep. Your body sleeps, but your mind doesn't sleep. So your mind never truly switches off because it doesn't need to rest. But what we can do is we can train the mind to be at peace, not thinking. And one of the easiest ways I found to do this for me was to go outside. And you can do it inside as well. It's just easier outside because there are more sounds outside. There's more stimulus outside. And it's just concentrate my conscious part of the brain in what I was feeling, what I could hear, what I could smell, what I could feel. So for example, I would go out into the woods and I would listen to the birds and I would feel the wind on my skin and I would listen to the trees rustling in the wind and I would smell the smell of the flowers, or if they were putting cow muck on the fields, the smell of shit, right? And get myself out of my mind and into my body and concentrate on these 5 senses. And to begin with, it's difficult. Like, it's like any new skill. Like, meditation is a skill. It's something that you have to learn. To control your mind is a skill. And again, going back to the fact that we're never taught how to do this. We're never taught in school about what our mind is, how it works, how to control it. So meditation is a learned skill. The art of controlled thought. So the first thing is to bring peace to your mind. Get it used to. Train it to be okay with not thinking. And essentially then we get the monkey to sit on the chair. Now, that technique for meditation that I've just told you there is something that I used for me and that worked for me. It may not work for you. We're all different. But if you go on to the internet and look for meditation techniques, you'll find guided meditations. You'll find lots of different ideas on how to meditate. To just basically learn how to still your mind. Because once we can get the mind to be still, once we can stop that uncontrolled thinking, the next stage is then to move into true meditation, which is actually to direct the thoughts ourselves, to be able to stop ourselves from thinking the things that we don't want to think and think the things that we do want to think on purpose. And what happens when we begin to do this, when we begin to control the thoughts in our conscious mind, is that we begin to change our perspective on what we see. And once we begin to change our perspective on what we see, that's when we can start to change the story. Okay, in the next video.